Welcome back, everyone. It's Peter Tragos, the lawyer you know, and we're here today to talk about the plea deal taken by Dominick Black, who was the person that bought the gun for Kyle Rittenhouse and testified against Kyle Rittenhouse in the trial stemming from the shootings in Kenosha, for which Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty. So we're going to talk about what Dominick Black was charged with, why he would even take a plea deal at this point since Kyle Rittenhouse is not guilty, and how this plea deal will affect his record going into the future. So thanks for joining in with us. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe to our page because we like to provide breakdowns of what's going on in the news as far as legal cases go. We love to answer your questions. So get in the comments and let us know what kind of content you want to hear and what questions you have about what's going on in our world. We want you to know what your rights are and how things are supposed to work, and then sometimes how they work in reality, like in this case. We're going to get some quotes from Binger, and we're going to talk about what this means for the future of the Kyle Rittenhouse saga. So when we jump into the facts of Dominick Black's case, we have to start with the indictment and what he was actually charged with. So let's put that up on the screen. Count 1, intentionally give a dangerous weapon to a person under the age of 18, causing death. Count 2, intentionally give a dangerous weapon to a person under the age of 18, causing death. And each of these counts carry with them, they're both felonies, and each of them carry with them up to 6 years in prison and $10,000 in fines. So if Dominick Black were to go and get convicted and get the harshest penalty for these two felonies he's been charged with, he could end up in prison for 12 years and paying $20,000 in fines. So why are these cases going forward? Because we all know the gun charges were dismissed and dropped basically during trial by the judge because the prosecution did not provide evidence to convict Kyle Rittenhouse for unlawfully carrying the certain type of firearm he was carrying. So why is Dominick Black continuing to be prosecuted? Well, these are not derivative claims. And what derivative claims are claims or charges that are dependent on other charges or other convictions. Dominick Black can still be charged with these crimes and giving a weapon to someone who's underage and basically making a straw man's purchase for Kyle Rittenhouse, and those weapons did cause death. Even though they were found to be justified by the jury and Kyle Rittenhouse was not convicted, Dominick Black could theoretically still be convicted. Now, Dominick Black could fight these charges, or Judge Schroeder, who is also presiding over these charges, could dismiss them. But there were some rumblings that maybe Thomas Binger, the old prosecutor that we've all talked about a lot throughout this process, would appeal these charges to the higher courts if the judge dismissed them, because he can't appeal most of the Rittenhouse charges, but he would be able to appeal the judge's dismissal of these charges. So, what a nice thing for the prosecutor to do to his star witness who cooperated with him throughout the entire process and testified against one of his best friends to try to convict him and put him away for potentially the rest of his life. He did that to help the prosecution and to help himself to get a better deal. But now the prosecutor's saying, well, if the judge dismisses this, I'm going to take it all the way up and make sure we get our conviction on this kid for what he did. That's just allegations. I haven't seen that that's true or false, but it seems to be on par with what Thomas Binger's done throughout this entire process. So we know why the case is going forward, and we know what the charges are. So what did Dominick Black actually plead to, and is he going to prison? Well, he was charged with 2 felonies. Don't forget that. Dominick Black pled no contest, not guilty, and there is a difference. No contest does not count as a guilty plea, and it is not a conviction on his record because he pled no contest to 2 civil infractions. You heard me right. 2 civil infractions. And those 2 felonies he was charged with are being dismissed by the prosecutor. So, what is his penalty for those 2 civil infractions? Well, you might imagine you're not going to prison for a civil infraction. He is going to be fined $2,000. Could have been fined $20,000, could have gone to prison for 12 years. He ends up no prison time, $2,000. So when we hear things like from prosecutors, our hands were tied, we couldn't do anything with this, this is the lightest sentence we possibly could have come up with for these facts and these charges, like in the semi-truck driver case, don't believe it. Because once again, we're shown prosecutors have all the power and leverage in these situations. They were able to turn 2 felony charges into 2 civil infractions. There is no bigger flip from felony, the most serious of crimes, to civil infractions, which are not even criminal. They're like a traffic ticket, a jaywalking ticket, a littering ticket. They have the power to do this. They have the power to take away prison time by changing the charges that the defendant pleads to and then dismissing the original charges. They can do this. There's nothing unlawful about this. So Binger, in order to, get his conviction, or whatever you want to call it, because it wasn't even a conviction, to get his win or his moral victory, he changed it to civil infractions. Dominick Black takes that plea. So why would Dominick Black take that plea? Well, it's obvious. When you're looking at 12 years in prison and $20,000 fine, and they tell you instead you can basically plead to 2 speeding tickets and pay $2,000 and it all goes away, and Binger's not going to appeal it, you take that deal. You advise him to take that deal as a criminal defense lawyer. Why would Binger take that? Well, he's looking at potentially another embarrassing loss at trial. He's looking at Judge Schroeder potentially dismissing these charges like he had dismissed multiple charges against Kyle Rittenhouse. And he gets to stand up and say, and I believe this is a quote from Thomas Binger, "I believe that does serve as a form of punishment and a deterrence to anyone going forward into the future. I do want to close by saying that I do believe that it is a serious offense to purchase a firearm for someone who is not legally able to do so. Our office will continue to vigorously prosecute those offenses, and it is still our office's position that 17-year-olds should not go armed with firearms." Even though technically it wasn't illegal what Kyle Rittenhouse did, he still wants to make sure he can make that point and drive that point home that this is punishment. He got to punish Dominick Black for what he did, and they find it serious, and they're going to vigorously prosecute these charges. So Binger is counting this as a moral victory in the court of public opinion. Let me know in the comments whether or not you agree. So, a couple of things to finish out with. What does this look like for Dominick Black on his record? And is his record now clean because the felony charges were dismissed and the civil citations do not show up as a criminal record? And I should mention this, and the civil citations that he pled to were contributing to the delinquency of a child. That was the technical verbiage behind the citations that he pled to. So what does his criminal record look like now? And can he do anything about it? We know that the felony charges are going to be dismissed and these civil infractions are not going to show as crimes convicted of on his record. So, a couple things that are important about a criminal record: convictions and arrests. So, Dominick Black will have no criminal convictions and no felony convictions on his criminal record, but he will still show that he was arrested for 2 felonies, 2 serious charges. That still shows up on his record. Now, in most cases, I don't know his criminal record, so I'm going to qualify that in saying that in most situations, you can get arrests for crimes for which you are not convicted sealed and expunged. But he's going to have to go through a process and procedure and probably hire a lawyer or pay his criminal defense lawyer to go through and getting those arrests sealed and expunged before he actually has a clean criminal record. Because right now, if somebody were to look him up for a job or if you want to apply for the military, those are going to pop up. In the military, even if you get something sealed and expunged, some public organizations and military can find sealed and expunged arrests. So these can still be things that he's popped for in the future, even though they were all dismissed, which just goes back into saying how much power the prosecutor has when they file an indictment and charge somebody with a crime and prosecute them. We want them to be sure. We want them to be doing what's just and seeking truth, because these are things that follow people for the rest of their lives, even if they're not guilty at trial or get the charges dismissed at a later date from the prosecutor's office. So what I want to know in the comments from you guys is, do you think Dominick Black made the right decision in taking this plea deal, or should he have fought the case? And do you think the sentence of $2,000 was too harsh for what he did or too light for what he did, knowing the facts and circumstances we know surrounding the Kyle Rittenhouse case? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed the videos and the content that we produce. And if you do, please give us a like on the video. And always remember, if you have a question about a case for you specifically or somebody you know that deals with an injury or wrongful death or medical malpractice or a criminal defense question, feel free to call our firm and reach out to us. All of our contact information is in the info of every single one of our videos. And you can reach out to our website or check out our website, www.tragoslaw.com. But for now, that's all we've got. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for watching this episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you like this content, please share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to our page and like our videos. If you want some interaction, get in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. If you want to know any more information about our firm or this page, you can find out in the description or visit tragoslaw.com. We post multiple times throughout the week, so make sure you hit that bell so you can get the notification and not miss out on the next episode.